All right, so in 2010, you put out your debut album, Liar and a Thief, and it was released through Viper Records. It had great features on it with Immortal Technique, Vinny Paz, Ill Bill, Cannabis, Poison Pen. Engineer did like all of the production, right?
Except for one track, Riot.
Right. Can you talk about the mindset you were in when you were creating that album?
I was just happy to have an opportunity to like do something real, that would get put out. I was hungry as fuck, I was really hungry. It took forever to do that record. Like, I don't want to rhyme. It was fucking, I recorded that in like 2006, But I was hungry, and then I was definitely frustrated through the making of that album because it was more difficult than I ever thought it would be. But
with what in particular?
The label, man. The label. Viper was dysfunctional, dude. That's just a dysfunctional label. To this day, it's dysfunctional, but it was definitely dysfunctional back then. None of us, we pretended that we knew what the fuck we were doing, but none of us knew what we were doing, Technique included. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knew what he was doing for Immortal Technique, but he doesn't necessarily know what he's doing to put out a Diabolic record. You know what I mean? Like, nor does he care. In retrospect, like, people could say, oh, we should, you're friends. Man, listen, we're all artists. We're all trying to figure this shit out and navigate it as we go. Now, back then, I would have been a little more fucking salty. Yo, what the fuck? We got to get this done. Da, 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 da. You get into your feelings a little bit. But looking at it as an adult now and more of, having more experience in this, like, we didn't know what we were doing. We had no fucking clue how to, like, navigate personalities and egos and a lot studio time. And the guy who owns Viper, Jonathan, very nice guy. I kind of miss him, actually. But he's a pretty wealthy guy. Yet he was cheap in all the wrong ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'd put money into bullshit, but not properly have you in the studio enough, or, your marketing budget was garbage. It was very frustrating. It was very frustrating to be involved in. And then Tech was the quote unquote president of Viper Records. But I don't think he ever wanted that fucking job, man. I think it was just by default. He's the president. He's the guy who blew up. He's having a lot of success. He's become one of the more successful underground hip hop artists at the time. He's getting on big festivals. He's becoming pretty famous. So he's just the president now. I don't know. I don't personally think Tech ever wanted to put all our records out. If you ask me, I think he just kind of felt like he had to.
What do you mean by that?
Dude, that's a lot of responsibility. You know what I mean? For to take on people you're friends with and be responsible for their possible success or failure, that's a lot of responsibility to take on.
Right.
And especially with rappers who can a lot of times be pretty fucking delusional about who they are and where they stand in this shit. Who the fuck wants to deal with that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, especially like going into it, everybody's like, oh yeah, we're going to kill this. Everything's going to be fucking happy, hunky dory, But as you start having to deal with the trials and tribulations of things going on, sure, you start regretting, like, fuck, I don't even want to do this. I have no evidence to support this outside of my opinion and being around, but I don't think Tech ever wanted to deal with that horse shit. You know what I mean?
What year did you sign to Viper?
Probably 05. Technically, I was like, Tech called me up one night at like 2:00 in the morning and was like, yo, Viper needs you. I want to put Diabolic record out. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I was like, all right, then we go from there.
So
and it was like
5 years?
I mean, fucking, it was pulling teeth, bro. It was like pulling teeth. Like Southpaw, who produced a bunch of Tech's records, he was the engineer, and he had this studio like in the downstairs of this building that Jonathan, who owns Viper Records, owned the building. And it was like getting studio time was like pulling fucking teeth. And, I used to get like frustrated with Southpaw thinking it was him, but he wasn't being paid properly by Jonathan. And then, like it was just a disorganized mess of horse shit. And I'm inexperienced, so I don't really know how to take the reins of it. So, I mean, I wouldn't get into the studio for fucking 3-4 months. You know what I'm saying? It would be a mess. It would be a fucking mess. It got to the point where I recorded half the album there, and then I recorded the other half of the record in Nightwalker's mom's house in his room on his Pro Tools setup.
That's crazy. Because in 2006, you put out the Foul Play mixtape, right?
Yeah. And that was just a random collection of it,
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really like something I intended to do. It was like, let me throw something out. I needed something to sell at shows.
Right.
I needed something I could sell, make $10 off of and keep it moving. So I had all these joints and I just basically made a mixtape out of them.
Is it true your experience working with cannabis was weird?
Little bit. It was kind of standoffish, but Cannabis is an odd guy. We built after that like post the song. Like it was a little wacky. Like I'll tell you what, the quality, I don't know if he recorded himself at this point. I believe he did, but the quality of the verse was garbage. And it took a lot of surgery. Shout out to Southpaw because he's very good at the technical side of Pro Tools and cleaning things up. He cleaned that fucker up. But it wasn't that weird. Maybe I might have said that at one point, thinking back, but I don't think I don't think it was that weird. He was cool because then we talked afterward. Once he heard my verse, he was like, "Yo, you got it, man. You're mad nice. Just do that." He was another one, kind of like Kid from Kid and Play. Don't let them change you, bro. That's what he was on. He was like, "Don't let them change you." And he was very cool. He's a weird guy. He's like fucking spacey and fucking, kind of talks in parables and shit.
Yeah,
but he's cool.
A very interesting guy for sure.
Yeah, he's a strange dude, which I think is cool. Some people it's like off-putting to them, but I thought he was cool. I think he's cool. He's a fucking weird dude. Listen to his rhymes. He's a fucking space cadet. He's into crazy theories and trippy shit. So, like, he's an artsy fucking probably chaotic. Always in his head. It's pretty cool. It makes for good music. Made for good fucking raps. I'll tell you that.